Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva. Jai Vishpad Paramahamsa Parvyakcha Ashtuta Sadasya Srimad Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. ISKCON Seshadripuram Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Vishpad Paramahamsa Parvyakcha Ashtuta Sadasya Srimad Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Vishpad Srila Guru Kishore Das Maharaj ki jai. Jai Vishpad Satchidananda Sri Bhaktivedanta Thakur ki jai. Jai Vishpad Sri Jagai Prabhupada ki jai. जय श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट अविनाशी जीव गोपाल भट्टदास अविनाशन गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय. ब्रह्मचर्य दास ठाकुर की जय. प्रेम से को शिक्षण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद द्वैत दादर शिवसादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय. श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय. श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण चंद्र भगवान की जय. श्री माया जगन्नाथ बलदेव श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महेश दर्शन भगवान की जय. श्री मायापुर धाम की जय. श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय. गंगा माई की जय. यमुना माई की जय. भक्ति देवी की जय. तुलसी देवी की जय. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय. श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय. ग्रंथ श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय. इस्कॉन वर्तमान गुरुवंत की जय. स्मॉल भक्तिवंत की जय. गौरव प्रेमानंदे. Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled. It's all glories to the assembled. It's all glories to the assembled. It's all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. I would like to welcome you all to this Tuesday morning class. Today, instead of the normal Srimad Bhagavatam class, I'll be speaking on Gaur Leela, as we have the appearance day of Lord Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on this coming Friday. So I've been asked to speak on Gaur Leela, and I chose this Jagai and Madhai pastime where Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu delivers this both Jagai and Madhai. So we all know the pastime, but the pastime is full of very important instructions from Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Shri Nityananda Prabhu, and they are more elaborately given in Chaitanya Bhagavat than in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So we'll try to understand these instructions, how important they are for us to be applied in our life. And it's not just we understand the philosophical aspect, not the pastime as a pastime, but also we need to understand the philosophy behind it. So whatever I know, I will try to speak. I don't have the capacity to speak on Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime. Nevertheless, I seek blessings of my Guru Maharaj and all the Acharyas in the Parampara, so that I may speak something on the subject. So, as we all know, Shri Mahaprabhu performed many pastimes, and one of these pastimes is the deliverance of these Jagai and Madhai. So it is said that one time Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave a very, very valuable instructions to Shri Nityananda Prabhu and Shri Haridas Thakur. He said, listen Nityananda, listen Haridasa, go out and preach my order everywhere. He said, Prati gare gare Giya Kara Ei Bhiksha, Bala Krishna, Bhaja Krishna, Kara Krishna, Shiksha. That means he said, go to every house and beg in this way. Chant the names of Krishna, worship Krishna, follow Krishna's instructions. So there are four very important aspects in this particular verse itself. He said, go to every house and beg in this way. Chant the names of Krishna, worship Krishna, and follow Krishna's instructions. Now, this is I've taken from the Chaitanya Bhagavat, which has got the verses also. So it means that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually utilized Sri Nityananda Prabhu and Sri Haridas Thakur because Nityananda Prabhu is none other than the original spiritual master or the original guru, and is also non-different from the Supreme Lord Krishna. And Srila Haridas Thakur is none other than the Namacharya himself, because he set an example of chanting about 300,000 names, which comes to about 292 rounds of Mahamantra approximately in a day. Now, it's also mentioned that as long as we are engaged in the service of the Supreme Lord Krishna, that is the right, which is the right engagement. But if not, then what happens is that we are automatically engaged in the service of Maya. So either you serve Krishna or you serve Maya. These are the only two options. And we can't keep two legs in two boats and sail. It never happens. We may do it for some time, but invariably we tend to fall. So that is one thing. And the Lord appeared as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to show that in this Kali Yuga, the only means of deliverance is chanting the holy name. And who can give this potency of chanting the holy name? Only the Supreme Lord himself. So the Lord appeared as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because he had the potency to give it. And it came from none other than the Lord's mouth itself in the form of instruction to Sri Nityananda Prabhu, who is the original guru, and to Sri Haridas Thakur, who was utilized in this pastime as a Namacharya. Now, we have heard a lot about Sri Haridas Thakur. So I've tried to speak something about Sri Nityananda Prabhu. Now, the word Bala Krishna means, it is said, chant the names of Krishna. And in the purport, it is mentioned that actually Krishna in this thing means one deliverance of the living entities. I mean, they are all living entities, the spirit souls, which we don't have to dwell into detail. And one who listens and obeys these instructions becomes an Acharya, who is a manifestation of the Lord. So Haridas Thakur was an Acharya who took these instructions to his heart, and is none other than a manifestation of the Lord himself to deliver the other living entities. So this also defeats not only also defeats the purpose of one Jagat Guru. Many times we say there is only one Guru. So here Haridas Thakur set an example as a Namacharya. Now this was Balakrishna, that means deliverance of the living entities. And then the next one of the sloka says Bhaja Krishna, that means worship Krishna. Now the point is that all the living entities have a desire to enjoy by becoming controllers of objects that are inferior to them. That means they have a desire for sense gratification, and their goal is only sense gratification by giving up the worship of Krishna. And this brings a lot of inauspicious to them, and in the process they become a victim of lust, anger, greed, envy, madness, and illusion. Now Krishna means also auspiciousness. Krishna brings auspiciousness, whereas trying to enjoy separately from Krishna brings a lot of inauspiciousness. This is one important point in this particular verse. So Bala Krishna, Bhaja Krishna. Then he says the word Kara Krishna Shiksha. That means Krishna alone is the object of learning, and Krishna alone is the source of everything. And by following this one instruction, one is freed from all the bodily concept, as also mentioned in the Shikshashtakam, the first verse, that is Cheto Darpana Mardhanam and Bhavamaha Davagnya Nirvapnam. And to understand that He is Sachidananda, and being part and parcel of that Supreme Lord Krishna, we are also Sachidananda. So Sachidananda means we are eternal. That means the body is not eternal, but the spirit soul inside is eternal. Chit means we are all looking for bliss or happiness. And Chit means knowledge, not ignorance, and Ananda means bliss. So Sachidananda means we are full of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. Now, the soul is eternal, but when we are in this particular body, we don't understand its eternity because of the illusion. Now, Chit means knowledge. The knowledge is also there within the spirit soul, but the point is it is covered due to ignorance. And this covering is there because we have forgotten Krishna and we don't want to serve Krishna. And actually, Ananda means we are, by nature, we are bound to be blissful, but unfortunately, we are not. So what happens is that when we take up the chanting of, the process of chanting of the Lord's names, and then what happens is the cleaning starts, Yato Darpana Mardhanam. Just like in a mirror, if dust is there, we cannot see ourselves. So when we chant the holy names of Krishna, then the mirror and the dust of our heart starts getting cleaned, and we are able to realize that actually we are Sachidananda, not Asat, not Achit, and not Dhurananda. So then this is Bala Krishna, Bhaja Krishna, and Kara Krishna Shiksha. Now Krishna Shiksha is the destroyer. Yeah. Then he says, Ghare Ghare Jao. He says that means go to every house possible. And he says by begging someone to chant. Yeah, before that there is one point which was very important. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to deliver the so-called, see, those living entities who are on a slightly lower platform, like somebody may be poor, they won't mind taking up to Krishna consciousness very easily. But those who are highly knowledgeable, they think, for example, the Brahmanas, they think they have a lot of knowledge. It is difficult to bring them to a lower platform because they are proud of their knowledge. And this higher class, they come down because when one is begging, he is dependent on the mercy of one who is giving his alms. That means one who is begging is always on a lower platform. So though Nityananda Prabhu is the Supreme Lord himself as Swayam Prakash, and Haridas Thakur as an Acharya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked both of them to beg alms from door to door. Now they don't need to beg alms, but he said, please ask them this way, Bala Krishna, Bhaja Krishna, Kara Shiksha, Krishna Shiksha. That means by asking them, by begging someone to chant, and by asking them to chant, the donor chant the name of Krishna. And by doing so, the name of Krishna is so powerful that it can bring auspicious to the one who is chanting, and even bring the most fallen soul to a state of ecstasy. This is what the whole pastime is about. So the point is, Mahaprabhu made Sri Nityananda Prabhu as well as Sri Haridas Thakur as an instrument in this process of begging the common man to chant. And then he said in the following verse, I didn't take the verse, he said, apart from this, you should not speak or have others speak anything else. That means other than chanting the holy name of Krishna, neither we should speak anything else, nor we should let others speak anything else, because it is like putting two legs on two different boats. So the moment we speak something else, then it is like getting into Maya. So like in the beginning of the class, I mentioned you can't serve both Krishna as well as Maya. So you can't ask someone to preach and chant the name of Krishna, and you chant with them for some time, and thereafter start speaking something else. That is like putting two legs into different boats. And then he said, at the end of the day, come and give me your report. This was his mission. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to know what is the reaction of those who these two devotees, are going and asking them to chant. And the reason he says in the next verse, he says, I will take up my chakra and cut off the heads of those who will not chant after being requested by you. So these two, that is both Nityananda Prabhu as well as Srila Haridas Thakura, are going to beg, asking them to chant the names of Krishna and worship Krishna and speak on Krishna. These are the three vital instructions Mahaprabhu gave. And then if somebody does not do so, Mahaprabhu said that he will take up his chakra and cut off those heads of those who will not chant after being even requested by you. That means Nityananda Prabhu is none other than the Supreme Lord himself, is Balarama. So hearing these instructions, all the Vaishnavas assembled there in the assembly of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they all started laughing, and they said that because nobody has got this power other than the Supreme Lord himself. And nobody has the power to transgress the order of the Lord. That means we must understand that if by the Lord's mercy, we are very, very fortunate to chant the holy names of the Lord. But still, it might be possible that many may not chant. So we will understand the importance of this point at the concluding part of the class. So I'm keeping it on hold till that. Then what happens is that, accepting the Lord's order, both of them went through every street in Nadia, instructing, Krishna is your life, Krishna is your wealth, Krishna is your very life and soul. Oh brothers, chant the name of that Krishna with full attention. That means they not only asked everyone to chant the names of Krishna, but they also said Krishna is your life and soul is your, therefore chant the name of Krishna with full attention. This is a very important point here. It's not that we chant the name of Krishna and our mind is elsewhere. So one has to chant the name of the Lord with full attention, and it is an exercise. It takes time. It doesn't come overnight. Now, when we say, I mentioned about worshipable position of Krishna, objects that are not related to Krishna, who is alone worshipable, are inauspicious. That means anything that is not related to Krishna is not worshipable, and therefore they are inauspicious. And Srila Haridas Thakur actually shows by example, by chanting the holy name of the Lord, it brings the sinful mind by favorable flow of thoughts. That means our mind is always disturbed. Our mind is always disturbed, and that is one of the symptoms in this Kali Yuga. So by chanting the name of the Lord with full attention, the mind becomes favorable to take up this Krishna conscious. And Sri Nityananda Prabhu removes the unhappiness and merges the living entities in bliss. So these are two vital aspects that Haridas Thakur actually, by making the living entities chant, he clears this sinful mind and makes way for favorable flow of thoughts. And Sri Nityananda Prabhu actually removes the unhappiness and brings all the living entities, not only human beings, all the living entities in bliss. So they both got dressed as sannyasis, and they went to every house, and they were invited to take their meal wherever they went. So why sannyasis? Because of course nowadays nobody might have any respect for the sannyasis, but during those times, those who went as sannyasis, they were respected for that ashrama. It is also mentioned that generally the dress of a beggar or a bhikshu was a sannyasi. Then only the one who wants to give alms, generally they used to give alms out of respect. But both Nityananda Prabhu as well as Srila Haridas Thakur did not accept anything in anybody's house, but they just asked them to follow Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instructions. Now, what happened when they gave these instructions to the common man in every street? Those who were pious became very, very pleased. Now here, pious means generally we see that there are some people with a lot of good qualities and manners, and they become easily eligible to attain by taking up the process of Krishna consciousness. Now, there are two types of living entities. One are the pious ones, who are generally good in nature, sattvic in nature. They have a lot of good qualities and they have good manners. They take up this process, immediately the result is seen. But then there are also another class of living entities who are the impious ones, who have committed a lot of sinful activities, and it may take a longer time for them to take the process. So in this context, there is a reference given in that sloka, given in that verse, which says, I think it's from the Puranas, that one should not see a person born in a Brahmana family performing sinful activities. But if he's a Vaishnava born in other Varnas, he can purify all the three worlds. So we will understand a little bit about this point, because there may not be full lot of time to elaborate on this. So even if someone is born in a Brahmana family, generally those days, those who were born in Brahmana family were considered to be very, very pious and knowledgeable and all. But what has happened is, because of being proud or puffed up and having given up the process of religiosity. Now, I mentioned at the beginning of the class that either we serve Krishna or we serve Maya. So once you give up Krishna, then automatically what happens is that we start serving Maya. And when we serve Maya, then one day we end up performing sinful activities. So it is said that one should not even see a person who is born in a Brahmana family but performing sinful activities. But if he's a Vaishnava means a great devotee of the Lord who is born in other varnas, that the other Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Udras and all, he can purify even all the three worlds. That is the power given by the devotional service to the Lord. That is how he is called a Vaishnava. Vaishnava means a devotee of Lord Vishnu. Now we'll proceed further. So some people said, yes, we will do. But others who are very crazy, they said that this is very bad advice. They said, you have become mad on account of bad association. Why you have come to make us mad? Many have become mad, and this Nityananda Prabhu has spoiled them all. That means they said that Nityananda Prabhu has already made many people chant, and he has spoiled them. And why do you want to spoil us also? And you have already become bad due to bad association. So they were actually blaming Nityananda Prabhu and Srila Haridas Thakur. Now what used to happen was, in the house of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there used to be a kirtan every day, every night. They used to chant the holy names of the Lord and perform kirtan. And not everybody was allowed initially for some time. So many thought that what is this, that these devotees of the Lord, they are chanting and dancing. So they said that beat these people. And in fact, when these two Nityananda Prabhu and Srila Haridas Thakur went house to house to preach the glories of chanting of the holy name, many said that these both are spies of some thief, and they are come here as preachers and as a pretext. Like many times you might find somebody come and sincerely begging, and many might actually in the process have some other this thing in their back of their mind. So many said that they are all representing some thief. They have come with the intention of stealing. And some even went to the point of saying that they will take both of these to the king, because if the king knows about it, the king will punish them very hard. But even after hearing these things, Nityananda Prabhu and Srila Haridas Thakur were not frightened. They were not in fear, and they continued to carry out the instructions of the Lord and gave their report to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu every day. Day in and every day out, they did this, and they gave the report to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So one day, it is said that there were two drunkards, and they were this Jagai and Madhai, and they were fully intoxicated. You know what happens when somebody takes liquor, wine and all, they become fully intoxicated. And the process of intoxication, they don't know what they say and what they speak. And it is also said that there were unlimited number of stories because there was no sin that they had not committed. All the possible sin they had committed, though they were born in Brahmana families. They were drinking wine, eating beef, stealing, burning others' houses, etc. But somehow or the other, they avoided the royal families, that is the king's families and their servants. So that is how they escaped all this time. And what they would do is, when they are drunk, they don't know. Sometimes they would show extreme affection between both of them. And all of a sudden, they'll start fighting between themselves, punching each other and pulling up each other's hairs, using abusive language, so forth. Now this was their state when they were drunk. And it is said that so far they have been committing only sins, but they have not offended a Vaishnava devotee of the Lord, because they never had an opportunity to commit one to a Vaishnava. This was the plus point that they had. So they did not pay any price for this. It is said in the Shastra that the higher you go on the Varna, the higher you have to be very careful to represent the society. So it is said that if an assembly of sannyasis do this instead of this Jagai and Madhai, I already mentioned that Brahmanas, actually Brahmanas are not supposed to commit any sinful activities, but these two were doing, and all the more if sannyasis do this, then it is much more sinful than these two drunkards, because they are on the higher platform in the society. It is said that a drunkard will be delivered, but not a sannyasi due to his ashram. And what to talk about performing sinful activities? Even talking about others is a very great sin. So it is said that one should not even talk about the sinful activities of the others. So even after studying the scriptures, it is said that many lose their intelligence, and what happens is that they start blaspheming the devotee, which is what has happened here. So Jagai and Madhai were born in a Brahmin family. They gave up the association of devotees. They gave up worship of Krishna. So they took up the process of serving Maya. And the process, what happened was they invited inauspiciousness. So when these two arrived, that means Nityananda Prabhu and Srila Haridas Thakura, Jagai and Madhai were actually punching each other. And Nityananda Prabhu asked some people, to which caste do they belong and why do they do like that? To which people replied that these two are actually Brahmanas and their father and mother come from respectable families. Their ancestors also lived in Nadia and have commanded a lot of respect. That means until their father and forefathers, everybody lived like Brahmanas and they command a lot of respect. But these two, though they are born in a Brahmin family, they took up to the process of sinful activities. Why? It is mentioned in the next verse. It is said that these two have given up religiosity and taken to sinful life and have been rejected by their relatives. So what has happened is that the moment they have given up this religiosity, then they have taken to sinful life and they have been rejected by their own relatives. So this is what generally happens. So residents fear for them as they might burn their houses, and there is no sin that they have not committed. That means there is no sin that they have not committed. And everybody is very afraid of them or fearful of them because they thought that they might come and burn their houses. So hearing all this, Nityananda Prabhu contemplated that I must deliver them. And the Lord has incarnated for this particular purpose. And he thought that where can he find sinners like this? So in this particular verse, in the purport, it is mentioned that there are 35 forms of sinful activities. It is not actually 35, there are more than that, but these sinful activities are classified in different categories, which I will not delve into today. So he thought, Lord manifests himself very, very secretly, but common people don't know why. So Nityananda Prabhu thought to himself, if the Lord gives his mercy on these two, then the whole world will know his glories. And he thought that if I can reveal Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to them, then I, Nityananda, will be known as a servant of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That means Nityananda Prabhu, though he is an expansion of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, but he always wanted to be known as a servant of the Lord. So everyone is none other than a servant of the Lord, including Sri Nityananda Prabhu. And now these both of them were fully intoxicated and they did not know themselves. But he thought that both should be intoxicated in Krishna's names than in Maya. And until now, it is said that generally religious people think that if someone sees these two, one should take bath in the Ganges. So they were so sinful and inauspicious that nobody would even like to see them. And if somebody comes in front of, opposite to them, they would take a different path and go. So it is mentioned that the glories of Sri Nityananda Prabhu are unlimited, as he is a Swayam Prakash form. So, and he has particularly incarnated to deliver fallen souls. So Nityananda Prabhu told Haridas Thakur, look at their miserable condition. Although they are Brahmanas, their behavior is most abominable. That means in spite of taking birth in a Brahmana family, their behavior is very, very abominable. Whereas it is said that one takes birth in a Brahmana family when one gives up a lot of these sinful activities and accumulates piety in many lifetimes. It is not that one becomes a Brahmana in one lifetime. No, they have to give up a lot of sinful activities, accumulate a lot of piety, then they take birth in a Brahmana family. And if they live like Brahmanas, then they are respected by people in the society. And such people like these two, Jagai and Madhai, it is said that they cannot escape the miseries in the abode of Yamaraj. That means those who are born in a Brahmana family but performing sinful activities cannot escape the miseries in the abode of Yamaraj. So Nityananda Prabhu then said to Haridas Thakura, he said, when you are beaten to the point of death, you are wishing the welfare of those who are beating you. Similarly, if you wish the welfare of these two, they will be delivered by the Lord, and let the entire world want these two being delivered. So Nityananda Prabhu had a desire, and he told Haridas Thakura that you are saved by the Lord when you are beaten to death. And similarly, if you desire the welfare of these two, then it is possible that the Lord can deliver them, and let the world watch this pastime. Because Nityananda Prabhu knows he is a Lord himself. And Haridas Thakura knew the glories of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, and he could understand, yes, that these two will be delivered now. So Haridas Thakura told Nityananda Prabhu, your desire is certainly the Lord's desire. That means whatever has come out of your mouth is basically the Lord's desire, that these two have to be delivered. So Nityananda Prabhu then embraced and told Haridas Thakura, let us go and inform the two drunkards of the Lord's order that we are carrying, which is for everyone, that is worship Krishna, and especially meant for the most sinful. So Nityananda Prabhu tells Haridas Thakura that let us go and inform these two drunkards of the instructions given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And particularly it is meant for the most sinful people, because pious people can easily take up the process of chanting, whereas those who are very sinful, for them it is very difficult. So he said our responsibility is to simply carry out the Lord's order. If people do not follow, then it is a responsibility. That means Nityananda Prabhu is telling that our duty is to simply carry out the Lord's order. So not only Nityananda Prabhu, every one of us are bound to carry the Lord's order. And he said, if people do not follow, then it is his responsibility. So both Nityananda Prabhu and Srila Haridas Thakur went to these two drunkards and gave them the Lord's order. So some people told that go near these two people because your life may be in danger, because they don't respect sannyasis and they have killed unlimited brahmanas and cows. So this is how many people want both Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakura. But Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakura did not hear them. And instead, they chanted the names of Krishna and went to these two drunkards. So they came close enough to be heard, that when they speak, that these two can hear. And then they said the same thing, Bala Krishna, Bhaja Krishna. So say Krishna, chant Krishna's names, worship Krishna, and chant the names of Krishna. Krishna is your mother, Krishna is your father, and Krishna is your life and wealth. So Krishna has incarnated for your benefit, and therefore give up all sinful activities and worship Krishna. So here they said that Krishna has incarnated for your benefit, and therefore give up all sinful activities. So on hearing these two, the words of these two, the eyes of both Jagai and Madhai became red with anger. And they ran towards Nityananda Prabhu and Srila Haridas Thakura. And they said, catch them, catch them. And then both Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakura started running. And they started shouting, stop, stop, stop. So, but they started, both Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakura did not stop. And this Jagai and Madhai started using abusive languages. And some people started laughing seeing this. They said that, see, we told before itself that their life will be in danger. Don't go to these two people. But Nityananda Prabhu said, it would be good, he said to Haridas Thakura, it would be good if they become Vaishnavas, but today our life is in danger. That means Nityananda Prabhu was still thinking that it would be good that if they become Vaishnavas, but today our life is in danger. But still both of them were laughing and running. So the two drunkards said, where will you run today? How will you escape this Jagai and Madhai today? Wait for a moment and see who is behind you. That means when someone is drunk, he doesn't know what he is speaking, to whom he is speaking, how he is speaking. Already they had a lot of ego. And they said, wait for a moment and see who is behind you. That means they were so egoistic, they thought that they are very great personalities. So hearing them, that both of them, both Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur, they started running out of fear and they started calling out the names of Krishna. Save us Krishna, He Govinda. Haridas Thakur, he said that I cannot go further. And what happened was, in the meantime, both Jagai and Madhai had very fat bodies. They could not run for a very long time. So they gave up running. And later, both Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakura both saw behind, and these people were not there. Of course, there are some verses on which I don't have time today to discuss, so I'll go further. So they both ran towards Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's house, and these two drunkards were rolling on the ground because they were intoxicated. And when they went to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's house, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was seated along with all his associates, and they were discussing the glories of Krishna. So both of them came and described what happened on that day with both these Jagai and Madhai. And then the Lord asked, who are these two Brahmanas and indulging in sinful activities? So Mahaprabhu became very curious to know who are these. Though he knows everything, he asked that who are these two people who are born in Brahmana family and indulging in sinful activities. Then the devotees started there narrating their activities as to how, though they were born in Brahmana families, due to bad association, they took up these sinful activities and people in Nadia would fear for them. Then the Lord replied, I will cut them to pieces if they come here. And Nityananda Prabhu said, you may cut them to pieces, but I will not go out as long as they are there. Nityananda Prabhu was just, this is a pastime where they were all joking and laughing and all those things. But Nityananda Prabhu told Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you first make these two chant the name of Govinda. And if you deliver these two by awarding devotional service, I will know that you are Patita Pavana, the deliverer of fallen souls. And he further said, the deliverance of these two will be more glorious than deliverance of me. That means Nityananda Prabhu is stressing the fact that Mahaprabhu appeared for delivering the fallen souls. And he says that deliverance of these two is more glorious than deliverance of me. This is how Nityananda Prabhu was glorifying Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So hearing this, Mahaprabhu smiled and said, they were delivered the moment they got your darshana. That means Mahaprabhu says the moment they saw you, they were already delivered. Why are you so concerned about this? Krishna will arrange for their well-being. And then all the devotees around, they started Jai, Jai, Hari, Hari. They were all convinced that these two will be delivered. So, in the meantime, Sri Haridas Thakura went to Advaita Acharya and he reported that what sort of person is this Nityananda Prabhu? He's so restless. And wherever I have gone with him, I have got into trouble with him. He goes to the Ganges river and swims where there are crocodiles, and he is swimming there in anxiety, trying to catch them. And then when some students come, he tries to beat them with sticks. And when their parents come, I take the trouble of pacifying them and sending them. And if he sees some unmarried girl, he says, marry me. And so forth. So these are all jokes that are there, and this is how Haridas Thakura is narrating to Advaita Acharya. And when I try to teach him something, he abuses me. So on a friendly platform, like Haridas Thakura was describing Nityananda Prabhu's character. Actually, Nityananda Prabhu was intoxicated in the love of Krishna. And in the purport it is mentioned, like one should be like Nityananda Prabhu, who is always intoxicated in the love of Krishna, whereas Jagai and Madhai were intoxicated in mind. Advaita Acharya replied that Nityananda Prabhu is intoxicated. I know him very, very well. But just see, in 1 or 2 days or 3 days, he will bring these two drunkards to our assembly. So this is how Advaita Acharya also predicted. But actually he was angry hearing what happened to both Nityananda Prabhu and Srila Haridas Thakura. But he said, just see how everyone will hear about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's devotional service to Krishna, and see how he dances and chants, and see how he brings this Nimai and Natai to them and make them also chant and dance. So Advaita Acharya also is an empowered incarnation, and he knew what was going to happen. And he said, see that this Nimai and Nitai, that means Nimai and Nitai, Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, will bring both of them and make them chant and dance. And hearing this, Haridas Thakura smiled, and he was convinced that yes, this is going to happen. So one day, the two drunkards were wandering from place to place, and they came to the Ghat in Ganges, where normally Chaitanya Mahaprabhu takes bath. They made this place as a base for them, and no one would come to this Ghat alone. They would come in large groups of 10s and 20s, so that they want to avoid these two. So these two actually stayed near the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's house and would listen to the devotees singing and dancing every day. Like I said, the Mahaprabhu would perform kirtan in his house in the night. But because these two were drunk, they didn't know or remember anything, but they would hear them sing and dance. When they would see the Lord, they would tell him, "Oh Nimai, you should sing the song of Mangala Chandi. We have expert singers, and we wish to see that." That means they wanted the Lord to sing the glories of Goddess Durga. So seeing this miscreant, the Lord normally kept at a distance, and others took another path and went away. So Mahaprabhu would always keep himself at a distance. So one day it is said that Nityananda Prabhu went around the city and finally came to Jagai and Madhai, sometime around night time. And they asked, "Who are you?" And the Nityananda Prabhu replied. They asked, "What is your name?" And Nityananda Prabhu replied, "My name is Avaduta." And Nityananda Prabhu already knew that this was the time for their deliverance, and therefore he came to them that night. So on hearing this name Avaduta, Madhai got very, very angry, and he picked up a broken clay pot and hit on the Lord's head. It hurt the Nityananda Prabhu's head, and blood came out of that wound. And at that time, Nityananda Prabhu remembered Govinda, Govinda. So on seeing these blood stains on Nityananda Prabhu's head, Jagai became very, very compassionate, and he picked up the hand of Madhai when he was about to strike the Lord again. That means Madhai was about to strike Nityananda Prabhu again, but Jagai caught hold of his hand, and he said, "Why did you do this? Why are you so cruel? What will you get by beating an outsider?" Outsider means it is said that here they are from a different province. He said, "Leave this Avduta alone. Do not beat him. You won't get anything by beating a sannyasi." So this is how Jagai had some compassion towards Nityananda Prabhu. So seeing this, what happened was many people saw this and they went and informed Mahaprabhu, who immediately came there with his associates. At that time, by the time Mahaprabhu came, Nityananda Prabhu's body was full with blood stains. But still, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, Nityananda Prabhu stood in front of both, that is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and this Jagai and Madhai. So when Mahaprabhu saw the blood on Nityananda Prabhu's body, he lost his external consciousness and started shouting out of anger, "Chakra, Chakra, Chakra." And when Mahaprabhu shouted "Chakra, Chakra," the Sudarshan Chakra appeared immediately. And Jagai and Madhai saw that all the devotees around also became bewildered. But Nityananda Prabhu appealed to the Lord. When Madhai hit me, it was actually Jagai who saved me. And actually blood has come out by providence, but I have no pain. But give me these two in charity, you may be pacified, for I feel no pain. That means when Mahaprabhu came, Nityananda Prabhu said that I have no pain, it was just by accident some blood has come out. Because Nityananda Prabhu also knew what Mahaprabhu will do if he is angry. And the Chakra, the Lord has already invited Chakra. So on hearing the words that Jagai actually protected me, Mahaprabhu came very, very happy. And he embraced Jagai. And he said to Jagai, may Krishna bestow mercy on you by protecting Nityananda. He said that by protecting Nityananda, you have actually purchased me. Ask me for any benediction you desire. May you attain pure devotional service from this day on. That means when Mahaprabhu heard that actually Jagai protected Nityananda Prabhu, he became very, very pleased. And he said, may you have, that you have actually purchased me. May you attain pure devotional service from this day on. So on hearing this benediction given to Jagai, all the devotees around, they started shouting, Jai, Jai, Hari, Hari. So Jagai, by hearing this, he lost his consciousness, external consciousness due to love. And the Lord said, Jagai, please get up, come and see me. I have in fact given you pure devotion service. At that time, Jagai saw the Lord in a four-handed form, holding Shankha Chakra, Gada and Padma, and he realized that this is the Supreme Lord himself. Then Mahaprabhu picked up this Jagai and placed his lotus feet on Jagai's chest. That means Mahaprabhu, being pleased with Jagai, placed his lotus feet on Jagai's chest. So, receiving the treasure of the Lord's lotus feet, which are the life and soul of Lakshmi, Jagai held on to them very tightly. As soon as Lord placed his lotus feet, Jagai held it very tightly, as if they were very, very invaluable jewels, because he saw the form of the Lord. And as he held on to them, he started shedding tears. Tears came out of Jagai's eyes. And it is mentioned that Jagai and Madhai were like one soul, very, very close to each other, very similar. But one was pious and the other was sinful. So on seeing this fortune of Jagai, Madhai's heart got transformed. And what he did was, he realized and he fell at Nityananda Prabhu's lotus feet. And he said, oh Lord, we both have committed sinful activities together, but why do you divide us while giving mercy? Bestow your mercy on me so that I can also chant your name, and there is no one else to deliver me other than you. That means, Jagai, Madhai actually fell on Mahaprabhu's feet and begged this. He said that, we have both committed sinful activities, but when giving this mercy, you have given to Jagai and not to me, and only you can deliver me. To which actually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, I do not foresee your deliverance, as you have drawn blood from the body of Nityananda Prabhu. That means Mahaprabhu was very angry that blood has come out from Nityananda Prabhu's body. He said, therefore your deliverance is very, very difficult. I don't foresee that. But Madhai said, you cannot say this. Why are you saying this? Because you have come to, you have delivered even demons who pierced your body with arrows. That means actually he was trying to narrate the Lord's pastime when he was as Rama and Krishna, that the Lord delivered even the demons. How can you ignore me? But Mahaprabhu replied, your offense is greater than theirs because you have drawn blood from the body of Nityananda, and the body of Nityananda is superior to mine. I am emphatically telling you this truth. So the point is that Mahaprabhu stressed the fact that Nityananda Prabhu is more superior to his own self, and that this Madhai had taken blood out of Nityananda Prabhu's body. So this is how Mahaprabhu valued Shri Nityananda Prabhu. But then Madhai said, oh Lord, if you're telling me the truth, then tell me how I will be delivered, because you destroy all the diseases and you are the crest jewel of all the physicians. If you treat me, then I will be cured. But please do not deceive me. Now that you know, you are known, how can you hide? That means Madhai is still requesting Mahaprabhu that please tell me how I can be delivered. So Mahaprabhu said, you have committed a very grave offense. Go and grab the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda. So Mahaprabhu at this time actually is coming to the point that you have committed a grave offense. So go and grab the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda. So being ordered like this, Madhai went and caught hold of Nityananda's lotus feet. So it is said, by taking refuge of the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda, one is never vanquished. Even Mother Revati knows the glories of the lotus feet. Then Vishwambara says, listen Nityananda, now that he has fallen at your lotus feet, it is proper for you to show him mercy. Since he has made you bleed, only you can forgive him. And now he has fallen at your feet. So Mahaprabhu is telling Nityananda that he is the one who committed. So before that, Mahaprabhu is actually telling Madhai that you committed a grave offense onto Lord Nityananda. So you go and approach him and grab his feet. So the point is that one should not commit an offense against a Vaishnava. And if we have committed also, we must go on to the same person and ask for forgiveness. And then Mahaprabhu is telling that this he committed sinful and made you bleed, but you can forgive him because he has fallen at your feet. So the point is that Mahaprabhu was stressing to Nityananda Prabhu that though he committed an offense against you, he has fallen at your feet and begging mercy, and you please forgive him. And Nityananda says, to which actually Nityananda Prabhu immediately agreed. He said, I declare that if I have accumulated any piety in any lifetime, then I will give it to this Madhai. He is relieved of any offenses committed against me. Do not bewilder him, but you bestow your mercy. So Mahaprabhu wanted Nityananda Prabhu to give his mercy, and Nityananda Prabhu wanted Mahaprabhu to give his mercy. So, but Nityananda Prabhu said, because on the instruction given by Sri Mahaprabhu, he said, if I have accumulated any piety in any lifetime, I will give it all to Madhai. So this is how Vaishnavas are very, very merciful. They don't consider an offense to be very serious. Though the other person might have committed, but then Vaishnavas are very, very merciful. Then Mahaprabhu tells to Nityananda Prabhu, if you have forgiven him, then embrace him and make his life successful. So Mahaprabhu stresses again that you have forgiven him. If you have forgiven, then embrace him and make his life successful. So based on the order of Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu embraced Madhai, and thus it is said that he was relieved of all the material contamination that he had. And Nityananda Prabhu entered the body of Madhai, and Madhai became filled with a lot of energy. So this is how Madhai became free of all the material contamination. So it is said that in this way, the two were delivered. And then they were free of contamination to such an extent that they offered wonderful prayers at the lotus feet of the two lords. But then Mahaprabhu said, do not commit further sins. To which Jagai and Madhai said, never again, O Lord. Then again Mahaprabhu said, listen, both of you, I have delivered you today, both. I take full responsibility for whatever sinful activities you have performed in your millions of lifetimes before, provided you do not commit sin again. So Mahaprabhu stressed on the fact that I will take responsibility for whatever sinful activities you have done. But in all your previous millions of lifetimes, provided you do not commit that again. So many times what happens is devotees take up devotion, the process of devotional service, and they, over a period of time, they start taking this, committing offenses against the devotees of the Lord, which is not good. Then Mahaprabhu says, I will eat through the mouths of you two, and I will incarnate in your bodies. So Mahaprabhu actually became very, very pleased with both of them, and both of them became unconscious in ecstasy. And their illusion has been removed, and they both were situated in bliss and happiness. So in this purport, it is mentioned here in this purport that they regained their consciousness and they became fully conversant with all the Vedic literatures, of which the main points are Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojana. That means Sambandha is that which shows the soul's relationship with the Lord, that the soul has a relationship with the Supreme Lord. Abhidaya means the activities which revive that relation, that is devotional service. And Prayojana means the ultimate goal of life. That means which is love of the Lord. So when these two became properly situated, they became filled with ecstasy because their ignorance has been removed. Then Mahaprabhu told, bring these two to my room and today we'll perform kirtan with these two. And I will award them that which is very rare even for Lord Brahma to get. So Mahaprabhu told his associate that to bring both this Jagai and Madhai to his room and that he would perform kirtan with them. And he says that is this thing that even Brahma does not get such an very easily. It's constrained in time. I will cut short the pastime now. And Mahaprabhu further says this determination of Nityananda is never baffled. I know that this is the desire of Nityananda. So Mahaprabhu again stresses that it was the desire of Nityananda Prabhu who had a desire that these two should be delivered. And thereafter, all the Vaishnavas caught hold of the Jagai and Madhai and in the sense out of love and affection and took them to the Lord's house. So all the other associates of the Lord also entered the Lord's house and they started performing kirtan like every day with these two also. And then actually this Jagai and Madhai, they got purified. Not only they got purified, they offered prayers, and the prayers are some glorious prayers they offered to Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. And it is said that Goddess Saraswati, not the Saraswati who is in charge of the material knowledge, but there is a Saraswati who is the goddess of transcendental knowledge, who appeared on the tongues of these two by offering prayers. And it is said that anyone who hears these prayers attains devotional service to Krishna. Such glorious prayers they offered. And hearing their prayers, Mahaprabhu actually concluded that these two are no longer drunkards, and from today on, they are my servants. So Mahaprabhu then glorified them as his servants. And he not only said that, he said, it is said that anyone who hears these pastimes attains all perfection in life. And Mahaprabhu further quotes, there's another further quotation that Mahaprabhu will deliver anyone except those who blaspheme Vaishnavas. So there is a quote in that verse about a quote from Srimad Bhagavatam 5th canto, that even if one is on the level of Lord Shiva and he blasphemes a devotee, he'll be destroyed. That means Mahaprabhu further says that even though I may be as strong as Lord Shiva, I shall be vanquished without delay if I commit offense at the lotus feet of a Vaishnava. So therefore, it is mentioned in all the scriptures that one should not blame a Vaishnava, and if he blasphemes a Vaishnava, he will certainly fall down. And then there is a very powerful conclusion. Krishna's name, which is the ultimate atonement, does not deliver one who offends a Vaishnava. That means the power of the name of Krishna has got so much of power for destroying sinful reactions than all other means of atonement. That means there is no other means of atonement other than chanting of the name of Krishna in this Kali Yuga. And it can destroy an offense more than what one can commit. That is what is mentioned. But if a person commits an offense to a devotee of the Lord Hari who is engaged in chanting the holy name of the Lord, then he can never be delivered. So the point is that one should not commit an offense onto a devotee of the Lord who is chanting the name of the Lord. And in that case, if that happened, he is never delivered. And then before I conclude, it is said that the Lord's mercy is vast as 1,000 oceans, and he sees the good qualities of others and never finds fault with them. So before I conclude the class, I would like to just stress on 2-3 more points. One is that this kirtan continued where both Jagai and Madhai were the part of that kirtan. And one time, this Madhai actually was still feeling very, very guilty that he has committed sinful activities onto so many, committed offenses onto so many whom he doesn't know. And when one day Nityananda Prabhu was alone, he went and asked Nityananda Prabhu, how can I atone for these sins? And I don't even know to whom I have committed what and when and how. Nityananda Prabhu said, do one thing, make a place or ghat in the bank of Ganges where devotees will come and take bath. And when they come and take bath, you offer your obeisances to them and beg forgiveness, irrespective of who it is, whether you're committed or not to them. And Nityananda Prabhu, Madhai actually did this. He made a ghat where the Brahmanas came and he offered his obeisances and begged forgiveness. And seeing this, all the Brahmanas and others, a common man said, only a personality like Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can change or transfer personalities like Jagai and Madhai. So the conclusion this thing is that the name, holy name is so powerful that it can transform anybody excepting one who blasphemes a Vaishnava. So with this, and concluding the class, I've touched on the major subjects. For the next 2 or 3 minutes, I can take some questions or comments you may have on this subject.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Hare Krishna Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam. Prabhu, like where are the prayers, where I can find the prayers you mentioned?
Actually, there is a book, 1 minute, let me increase the volume. There is a book on Chaitanya Bhagavat given by Sri Vrindavan Das Thakura, which has got canto wise, and this has got verses and the prayers and everything.
Right, Prabhu. Like, is it like on some website it's available or only in the book?
It is available only in the book. I'm not a very tech-savvy person, but if you want, I can find out, or if you want, I can even send you a copy of the prayers. But you need to give me some time.
No problem, Prabhu. I'll try to search. Like, if otherwise, then I'll contact.
Sure, Mati.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you for the wonderful narration of the pastime. Like, it was very much in detail. Like, we generally hear, but this was nice that it was very much in detail. Thank you, Prabhu.
But the most important thing is how we apply these instructions in our life, and it comes over a period of time by practice.
Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you, Madhai.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Anybody else? Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Pardon me?
This is Shanta Govinda. Shanta Govinda.
Chant the Govinda. Okay.
Prabhu, that book of prayers, if you can give us the title, we could try and procure that book, Prabhu.
It is Sri Chaitanya Bhagavata by Sri Vrindavan Das Thakura.
Okay.
But there are 2 types of books available in this, one without prayers and one with prayer. If you check in Jagannath Mandir, you might get it, Prabhu.
Okay. I'll do that for you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Any questions? Any comments? If not, can I take the class as concluded, Prabhu? Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. Shri Mahaprabhu ki Jai. Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki Jai.
Jai.
Wishing you all a Gaur Purnima in blissful Gaur Purnima in advance.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Wish you the same.
Please come to the temple on that day. There we have a lot of Abhishekam and Homa and things like that. So I'm inviting you at this occasion.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.